One of the things we need to talk about is why get certified at all. I've counseled a lot of people, and this is sort of what I recommend to anybody that wants to get into IT at all. I mean, you're going to need a degree, you're going to need certifications, you're going to need experience. If you don't have one of those, then you're going to need to beef up the other two and make sure that you have, that you're strong in those two areas. There are a lot of people who don't have a degree that are relying strictly on their experience in the job. Those kinds of people will a lot of times poo-poo the importance of certification to anybody else. And the same thing goes for people with degrees, right? Don't run into the same issue with just having certifications. You need to have a balance of the three. You need to have a degree, certifications, and experience. I have an 8-step certification process. It's simple, but not easy. So here it is. This is the 8 steps. And I'll go into each of these steps separately as we go along. Sign up for the exam, get some experience on the thing that you're getting certified in, know what the exam's all about, take a course or read a book, develop your study guide, learn your study guide, because remember your target list, as far as I'm concerned, your target is to get the certification. And then there's tricks to taking the exam, and then the final step is document your success. Signing up for the exam, those are the two most common testing platforms. There's Pearson VUE at vue.com, and then Thomson Prometric, www.2test.com. I say install this stuff. It could be hardware, it could be an operating system, it could be application. Whatever it is, you're going to need to install it and get some hands-on experience with it. How do you do that? All these are part of the installation process. You're going to need to get the exam objectives. There's a lot that you can learn, and you will learn a lot. And what I always tell people is that it is possible to get a lot of experience and not pass the exam, but it's not possible to pass the exam and not learn a lot. Know what the exam is going to cover, the kinds of questions that are going to be on there, and I say put it in an outline. Get your own outline, because you're going to start building your own study guide to meet these exam objectives. This is a sample from a SharePoint listing on the Microsoft site. This is the kind of things that you're going to be looking for. Sometimes there are courses associated with that, so this is the next step: take a course, read a book. VMware certification requires a VCP course. There are others as well. If they're required, you have to take them. Don't bother taking the exam without it. There's lots of books written out there. And finally, the last thing there, the virtual labs. Some good examples of that are the TechNet virtual labs from Microsoft to get you hands-on experience in a contained and safe environment. So there's on that same exam that I was looking at before, the SharePoint. This is the preparation materials. These are some of their recommended courses and or Microsoft Press books that are available for that. This is the VCP on vSphere 5, and you can see that number one there, the course is required unless you've already taken VCP 4, in which case the course isn't required until that date. So develop your study guide. So you're going to take your exam objectives that you copied from the vendor's website. You're going to start working through those exams to build out your questions. A lot of the exam prep material has sample questions at the end of chapters, so they're giving you things to read. Sometimes there's exercises to explore, and then begin to collect those sample questions, because those are examples of the kinds of questions you're going to see on the exam. Big debate about the use and misuse of brain dumps. Not exactly a fan of them, but they're there. Transcenders strike a good balance between the brain dumps versus exam preparation. So yeah, take it for what it's worth. Learn your study guide, right? So you're going to get the hands-on experience. You're going to read the book. You're going to take the course. You've set a deadline for when you're going to take the exam. So take your deadline for the exam, divide the amount of time that you have into thirds, and then use that last third to get good at the questions that you've pulled together or the questions that you've bought. I use a simple trick. I put a check mark behind the question that I have, that I recognize, and as time goes by, I quit looking at the ones that I've already checked, and I only review the ones that I don't recognize right away. There are practice exams as well. A lot of times, so for example, the Transcenders, they will sell you a practice exam along with a testing engine. Be careful that you don't try to memorize the questions or the format. First of all, because the responses change. They will appear in random order. If you get to where you memorizing the questions, a lot of times the test engines don't randomize the responses. So you'll be looking for a particular answer that is the third one down. That's not how it's going to appear on the exam. And a lot of times they're wrong. Sometimes they're incomplete. So again, but it is helpful if you're not good at taking exams. It's helpful to take the practice exams, get your score up to the level that is going to be required to pass the exam. That'll do wonders for helping your confidence when it comes time to take the actual exam. On the day that you've scheduled to take the exam, don't make the mistake of not finding out where it is. You're supposed to arrive 15 minutes early. Do bring 2 forms of ID, picture ID, and get there early so you're not stressed out. And sometimes there are lines. There are a lot of people taking exams, and you'll have to wait until they process each individual person. A lot of times, if you've never taken the exams before, there's a little box in the either upper right or upper left-hand corner where you can mark it for review. Most of the exam engines give you a review screen at the end. So I say mark for review. If you're finding that you're spending too much time on an exam, on a question, and you just don't know it, mark it for review, and you can move on. And then on that final screen, you'll have the ability to go back and review only the ones that you've marked. So you can get through the ones that you know right away, not waste too much time on the ones that you don't know right away. And then be careful. All the exams will have a timer at the bottom. Don't lose track of time. Be careful. And then finally, document your success. If you fail, turn right around and sign up for it as soon as you can. Often you can do it right there in the testing center. You will never know it more than you do the day you walk out of the exam. So yeah, it hurts. It hurts to see that failure posting when you get the printout. But if you can sign up for it right away, sign up. A lot of times the testing centers have the ability to re-register you right there on the spot. When you do pass, take that exam results printout. Typically, they're going to put an official stamp on it. Microsoft and others used to send out a welcome packet. They would send you a certificate and maybe a pin, a logo. They've done that less and less as time goes by. Most of the time now, they give you a registration ID on their certification website. And you can go there, you can download the logos, you can see the logo use policy. Pay attention to renewal requirements. A lot of times there is a lifespan on the certification. You'll have to renew it again in 3 years, or sometimes it's on the next version. And then finally, once you've passed that exam, go on to the next one. Go back to step 1, pick a target date, sign up for the next exam, and drive on. This video and the others that I prepare on this website will also be available on abc123certs.wordpress.com. Thanks.